I'm Wing.
I'm Jay.
And I'm Stargate Pioneer from the Starling Tribune,
a podcast member of the Gonna Geek Network.
Just like the one you're listening to now.
The opinions expressed are those of each individual.
Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
And get ready, because geekiness begins in 3,
2,
1.
To Tyrion's Landing. We'll be talking spoiler-free about the latest from HBO's Game of Thrones. Mostly because we singed a few people's eyebrows in a horrible, horrible time-traveling accident. Well, actually, it was only Nikki, but we won't tell anybody. I'm Jeannie, and joining me tonight is Rachel. How are you, Rachel?
My eyebrows are fine. I don't have any to burn.
I do, but you just can't see them. Nikki is also here. Hello, Nikki.
I would just like to say that my eyebrows are on fleek. Is that how you say that? On fleek? Is that right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Kids in their newfangled word slang ebonics thing.
Up first, we have some quick, fun stuff. Today is Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you all.
Yay.
Gwendolyn Christie's Star Wars character was revealed today. It is named Captain Phasma or Phasma. I'm thinking it's Phasma. Phasma. Yeah. And she is in what looks to be a chrome stormtrooper costume, but she's part of the First Order, not the Empire. I'm not sure what that means, but it looks pretty badass.
Yerp.
Vanity Fair released that today as part of an Annie Leibovitz layout. And it's pretty darn awesome.
I never knew that I needed a chrome stormtrooper in my life.
Me either. Also, this past week, Kristen Wiig appeared on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and she was Khaleesi. I don't think she went 30 seconds without cracking herself or Jimmy up or both. It was...
Oh, my God. It was epic.
It was epic. It was quite epic. She answered Game of Thrones questions from Jimmy Fallon. Got none of them right. She had a little dragon on her shoulder. I forget. I think she named it Jack or something. I don't remember.
Aww.
Jack. And I have found the wardrobe component that you need for the spring. Leggings.
No, we don't.
Yes. Leggings with George R.R. Martin's face all over them.
That is the most disturbing thing I have ever seen in my life.
That's Jeannie's Christmas present right there. I see the look on her face and she looks horrified.
I was coughing.
Yeah, because of the leggings.
However, they do note in the article that Benedict Cumberbatch ones are also available.
I'm not sure which is scarier. But that's the fun stuff I found this week. What did you find, Rachel?
Well, the first thing that I found was an article discussing an interview, basically an exit interview with Sir Barristan the Bold.
No!
I know. I was so sad.
We will talk about that later, though.
Yes. But basically they ask him, what would you say to book reading fans that are upset that Barristan is no longer with us? And he's like, I'm disappointed.
Aww.
Well, know that we are with you, sir.
Bastard.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they do ask him a couple of quick questions about, how he's doing now that, it's over and how did he find out and stuff. And it's a pretty fun little interview, but, very sad. That was the most depressing thing ever.
Then why is it under fun?
Well, the interview was fun, but not the reason for it. And then the next article I found was that in an interview with what's her name, Laura Miller from Salon at a convention last fall. Or I'm sorry, no, it wasn't last fall. It was just recently. George R.R. Martin confirmed that the Grateful Dead are a big influence on Game of Thrones, and the Weirwoods are even named after Mr. Bob Weir.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, and there's a video of the interview on the link, and it's kind of fun. He talks about his influences and, how he's been a deadhead for a long time. And then the third thing
He looks like one.
Right.
He does. He looks like Jerry Garcia.
Kind of, yeah. And then the third thing I found was a cute little article over on The Chive. Disney characters, Game of Thrones characters reimagined as Disney characters. I laughed so hard. I mean, they've got Oberyn and the Mountain. They've got Arya Stark and the Hound. They've got Jon Snow and Ghost. Bran Stark and Hodor. But I think my favorite is Lord Varys.
Yes.
Aww.
That's pretty awesome.
With his little, what is that, Snow White flowers? Birds? Oh my god.
His bluebirds.
I call the
Sparrows.
birds flowers.
Are they sparrows?
Well, yeah,
They
they're little bluebirds, like from,
Right.
but I'm sure they're supposed to be the sparrows. But, they're pretty awesome. Somebody did a really good job on these. But, and they're all labeled Walt Disney Pictures presents Game of Thrones. Yeah. Okay. And Nikki, what did you find?
Well, mostly because I kind of played this game when I remember. But Game of Thrones Ascent, which was for the iPad or iPhone only, they now have that for Kindle users. So anybody who has a Kindle Fire can now play Game of Thrones Ascent. Yay!
Yeah, I saw that. I guess it recently was released on Google, but it didn't go to Kindle Fire, even though it's it's Android.
Yeah, somebody didn't think that through.
No, that was delivered by Amazon.
Oh, Amazon. And the other thing, which I also put on our Facebook page, was on, again, Vanity Fair, about how Game of Thrones finally fixed 3 of its, and I use quotation mark, weakest characters, Jon Snow, Sansa, and Stannis. I never thought they were the weakest characters, and they didn't get much of a storyline, especially Stannis, but, I mean, never thought they were weak. But they kind of, like, the whole thing was Jon Snow grew up, Sansa basically became Dark Sansa, and Stannis is the menace. Because he is basically one of the few people left alive from the Battle of the Five Kings. Because nobody knows where Balon is, by the way. He's out there and
We assume.
still chilling like a villain.
We assume he's out there. We haven't heard anything.
But those are the only 2 things that I found.
Alrighty then.
I was mostly excited about the Game of Thrones for the Kindle Fire.
Alright then, let's move on to the most important thing, the episode. So the episode this week is called The Sons of Harpy. No, it's called Sons of the Harpy. And it's directed by Mark Mylod. And this time it's written by Dave Hill. This is the first one that hasn't been, so far, that has not been written by Dave and Dan. I think we know what the title refers to.
Those murderous sons of bitches.
We had 6 deaths. The merchant captain, Sir Barristan Selmy, and 4 Dornish guards. Well, we had more than that. There was an awful lot of Sons of the Harpy and the Unseelie.
Well, yeah.
I couldn't count all of them, and then I really didn't care about the Harpies. I want them all dead.
All right, before we get to that, though, let's start in King's Landing. And it started off with the small council. And I have a question for you all. Mm-hmm. Do we think that Mace Tyrell is long for this world? I'm thinking no.
The minute she said that Meryn Trant going with him, I was like, dude, you're gonna die.
Exactly.
That's basically going down into the basement in his horror movie. You're just gonna die.
Alone.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Well, she's getting rid of the Tyrells one by one.
She is. And she's still maneuvering to figure out how to manipulate the Sparrow, the High Sparrow.
She is such an idiot.
Ugh, I'm telling you, do not mess with zealots. It will be your downfall every time because you cannot control them. You cannot trust that they will live by your agenda. They have their own.
Well, I mean, she says it to him anyways. He's like, oh, I never thought I would get this job. I never wanted it. And she's like, well, that's why I chose you. I'm like, that's why you shouldn't have chosen him.
Yeah.
Someone who doesn't want it is kind of an idealist, and he's a zealot. He's going to fix the world. And everyone's going to die, but a handful of people.
Yeah. And we saw Lancel getting his forehead carved, which made me shudder. And it made me, it gave me the willies. And it also reminded me in a weird way of Charles Manson when he had all of his followers carve that swastika in their foreheads.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very cult-like.
Yeah.
So question, I'm worried about Lancel telling on Cersei. Why is she not worried about this?
She should be, but so far, I think part of it is that she feels safe in the fact that she's the Queen's mother and she's a Lannister. Much like later, we'll talk about it when we get to Dorne, but I think Jaime falls into the same trap. They think because of who they are, they're insulated from stuff, and they're so not.
Yeah, they think they're invincible, that they're untouchable, and
except by Tyrion and his crossbows.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Loras gets captured, which Marjorie is not happy about, and Tommen is stuck in the middle. That poor sweet summer child.
I thought you and Mother were getting along. Really? You poor sweet king. That's a lie.
All right.
I thought you were going to send her to Casterly Rock. She didn't want to go. You're the king!
She's my mom.
I think that at this point, Tommen needs to tell on her and go get Kevin. I'm like, dude, Uncle Kevin, she's fucking shit up. Come fix it.
Well, I don't think he realizes that that's what's happening. He's getting caught in the middle, and he doesn't know where to turn yet.
No.
You turn to the adult figure.
Every person who... No,
the adult figure is his mother.
Here's that poor sweet boy.
Here's the thing. Every person who has a very strong parental figure in their life, when they get married, to a certain extent, comes up against this. You have to make the choice. And he doesn't know that he has to make a choice yet.
No, he absolutely does not.
But let's move on to the new place on the map, Dorne.
Dun, 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 dun. That reminds me of Australia with its snakes.
Now, I did see some pushback. There was a lot of pushback on Twitter this week. Because we are so off book, people.
That didn't bother me, that they went off book. It was more the sand snakes that bothered me. And the actual snake.
Well, yeah. But one thing that gave me a little bit of a twinge, if you've read the book, you know that the city in Dorne that they're at is called Sunspear, and that's really, since everything else is a city or a holding, that's really what it should have been on the map, but it's Dorne. But I can totally understand why they made that decision, because then you have to go through the whole explanation of what Sunspear is, whereas this is more of we've been talking about Dorne this whole time, this is where it's at. But it would have been nice to have seen Sunspear instead, but that's okay.
One day.
I did enjoy the conversation with Bronn and Jaime in the hold of the ship. The Dornish are crazy. All they want to do is fight and fuck.
I'm not sure which part of that conversation I liked more, though, because, I mean, like, Bronn just kind of let Jaime have it.
Right?
he let him know that he was not fooling anybody.
Oh, yeah. And he kept doing that, too.
He just kept giving him that look. Like,
You're not fooling. We know what's going on. Everybody knows what's going on. Don't try this crap.
Oh, we're going to rescue your niece, huh?
Yeah. And
I was amused.
I'm a little bit confused why Jaime is so mad at Tyrion for killing their father.
I wasn't sure if that was actual anger or if that was for show.
It seemed like it was for show, but then on the other hand, I think maybe it was both. Like, you're kind of Cersei was kind of relieved that now she doesn't have, as much as she loved Tywin, she doesn't have him helicoptering over her and having her married off to the sword swallower. So I'm kind of thinking that's really the same way.
She did.
Yes.
It's really not a very nice term.
But his grandmother uses it.
That doesn't make it right.
Aww. Lena's awesome. I think it was kind of both. Like, he wanted to, I think he feels guilty that he let him out, and they're kind of relieved that Tywin's gone. Because he was this huge, overbearing force on their lives that even though they were adults, he made them do what he wanted. One way or another, he always got his way, and now he's not there, they can, it's like house party.
Okay. And I have to tell you guys, I think Nikki's with me on this. A snake near my head that you've just killed, I'm done for the day.
I am beyond done.
I'm done for the day.
I'm done.
I'm mounting up on my Noptopus, and I'm getting the fuck out.
I'm done for the year.
Noptopus. I saw that the other day on Tumblr, and I'm like, I am so stealing that.
That's kind of
my
awesome.
Noptopus.
I prefer the Nope train to Nopeville, but yeah, I'd be there for the rest of the year.
And that entire conversation about how they want to die was depressing as hell.
Okay, this is nothing like the Tyrion and Bronn show. Jaime and Bronn need to be canceled.
No, I think it's having its moments, and it just hasn't arrived yet. But it was interesting when Jaime said that he wanted to die in the.
Who wants to sit around and
in the arms of the woman?
In the arms of the woman that he loves, and Bronn is asking him, "Does she want the same?" So going along with what you were saying earlier, where Bronn is having none of it. He knows exactly who she's talking about, and he's not letting him think that he doesn't.
Nope. Yeah, my reaction to a lot of what Bronn said this episode was, ooh.
And of course they get sold out by the ship's captain. And
like, who didn't see that coming?
Like what Bronn said. It's like it was a really big bag. Okay, and I'm sure he's going to get another really big bag.
Yeah, and this kind of goes back to what I was referring to earlier with Cersei. Jaime's confidence in his money, is that stupid or is that arrogant? Or is it both?
It's both.
It's both.
Yeah.
Definitely both.
Although it did result in a really cool sword fight.
That was kind of awesome. Although, again, Bronn stole the show.
Yes, he did.
Here, that one's slowed down. Is that enough for you?
And when Jaime especially when he was fighting that guy, they had the music that was going on was all the timpanis and stuff, everything, and it really, really reminded me of the poundy drums that Bear McCreary used in Battlestar Galactica, and I really missed it.
I forgot all about that. Memories.
But Jaime did end the fight in a rather dramatic fashion with his hand.
That was kind of cool.
It was kind of cool.
With his gold hand.
And the thing is, too, is like, in that situation, something like that would happen.
Oh, yeah. And then later, two things. First of all, I want to make note that Bronn wiped off his sword.
Yes.
Somebody wiped off the fucking sword.
Steve looked at me and said, the quote from, Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. Some traditions must be kept.
And digging, then they had to dig the graves, right? And it kind of goes back to when Bronn was rowing too. And Jamie is using that one-handed thing for all its work. Bronn may not be letting Jamie get away with anything, but Jamie's so like, nope, I can't do it. I only have one hand.
What can I do with only one hand? I can barely fight.
Now, let's move on to the sand snakes. And there was one thing about the sand snakes that bugged me.
Ugh.
But overall, I did like the snakes.
Their accents?
No, the accents is not what bugged me. What bugged me was that story that she told where she was telling her about the one was telling, oh gosh, I can't remember their names, but she was talking about
Obara?
Yeah, she was telling Obara about the spear, and that she mentioned that she was a girl, and I'm just like, wait a minute, over in the books, and I know you get tired of hearing about, well, it happened this way in the books, but this I think was really important because it really set Dorne apart in that it's a matriarchal society. That would have never happened. Nobody would have said anything about the fact that she's a girl and she wants to fight. And that really just bugged me.
Well, I think that what I took from it, and I don't know, maybe I didn't look into it as deeply, was her father looked at her mother, who was using her tears as a weapon, and said, "You have a choice. We all fight, but you have a choice of what weapon you use."
Right.
And
that's
she
what I
chose the spear.
Okay. All right. I feel
didn't
mollified.
take it
because I that really started bugging me the second time I watched it, not the first. But I really loved that entire scene with the ship's captain buried, and she whips off the bucket off of his head, and there's scorpions over it, and he's totally not who anybody thought it was speculating who he was from the trailer.
Right.
Wait, who were people speculating it would be?
They were speculating that it was the Mountain. They were speculating it was Varys. Varys was the main one that they were thinking it was speculating. I think. Now I can't remember. But
I need time to go look this up.
All right. So let's move on to the wall.
We told her not to touch him, and what did she do?
Yeah.
She touched him.
She did. But before we get to her, let's talk about Stannis, the Queen, and Melisandre. That was an interesting exchange.
God,
I think
that bitch needs to die.
Who, Melisandre or
Yes.
Selyse?
Well, kind of both
Well,
of them.
Selyse has really kind of abdicated her entire role to Melisandre, and Melisandre is taking full advantage of it. It's just annoying. Ugh.
Well, and then
Creepy.
the way that she can shut her down with one look.
Well, again, we have another zealot.
Yeah, very much so.
Oh, zealots. Fun.
And then, of course, Jon and Sam, who when Sam puts that Roose Bolton in front of him.
That was... Sam played that perfectly.
He did.
He said exactly what Jon needed to hear.
He did. But still, it's gotta sting. It's gotta sting bad.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, seeing how cruel Ramsay is, what kind of men do you think are going to eventually make their way up north? Flayed men. I don't think that they're going to be sending live men like, hey, you did something wrong, let's send you to the wall. It's like, let's take your skin off, then send you.
Well, I doubt it, but okay. Because I don't think anybody would survive that long on a trip with no skin.
Oh, I didn't say they were going to be alive.
Oh, okay. And let's talk about this exchange between Jon and Melisandre.
So now we know why she was asking if he was a virgin earlier.
She is literally the snake in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
She really is.
Embrace your power. And I have to agree with that article that you linked earlier from EW as far as aging Jon up. I know that a lot of people, a lot of book people on Twitter are quite upset at the changes that they're making. But I do think, we have to keep in mind that John in the book is 14. It's very much a story about a boy coming into manhood. Jon Snow at this point is a man, and they need to adjust that story for who Jon Snow is in the show.
You don't think they've aged up the story enough, you mean?
No, I think they have. I think they have. And I think that's what people are upset about, is that they have aged up the story. And I think that it's needed for who Jon Snow is in the show versus, because let's keep in mind, this is an adaptation. This is not a word for word translation. And, because what works in a book doesn't work on screen. A 14-year-old doing this story doesn't work.
No.
Nope.
I mean, they've gotten really lucky with these kids, but they've also aged as they've gone along, and the story has aged with them, and I think it's appropriate. I know that there's a lot of people, especially the angry Game of Thrones fan, and his followers are really up. I mean, I had to turn off retweets from him because it was just getting so bad. But, I think it's appropriate. I thought it was creepy. I thought we also were getting more and more glimpses of that Stark honor. But I think it's with Jon, the way it's manifesting in Jon, at least so far, is much more practical. He has a more practical look at the way that he holds his honor and the way he views his vows and everything. It's not that he's going to break them, but he's not going to let them break him either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean, because it's like they mean something to him, but they're not going to get between him and protecting his people.
Right.
And they're not going to get between him and what he needs to get done.
Yeah. And I like that. I like that a lot.
Me too.
And also you get a glimpse of his heartbreak too.
Yeah.
And it still breaks my heart that, when he tells her that he loved Ygritte, and he still does.
Yeah.
and you know what? I respect him more because of it. I really do. And I respect him because he admits to his own flaws.
Right.
But.
Well, I think that's a trait that he gets from his father.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's move on to the Shireen and Stannis scene.
Aww.
This is the best I've ever liked Stannis ever. There is a large faction of book people who absolutely love Stannis, and I've never understood it. That's fine. I've just never understood it. I don't get someone who is that rigid and that cold, why you would be a fan of that. I can't relate to that at all. Well,
I think it goes back to kind of like Jon. Like, he has his ideals, he has his rules, and he sticks to them. He doesn't, if you go back to the Tyrells, they switch sides at least twice. Marjorie switches husbands. Well, one of them's not good enough. I mean, he sticks to what he believes in, no matter what. And it shows, here with Spring, he loved her and he fought tooth and nail for her. And you gotta give him his respect.
Yeah. Although let's give some respect to Shireen early in the scene when he's telling her about boredom. She really got a zinger and were you bored too? That was a good one. It was a good one. But
go kiddo.
Yeah, but you're right. That story of Stannis, basically moving heaven and earth to get his daughter healed. And, because, she is the Princess Shireen Baratheon of House Baratheon, and you are my daughter. That line right there just made the entire scene. It was fantastic.
And I completely didn't expect it either.
And then compare that to, because earlier in the scene, when he was asking, she's like, yeah, Mom didn't want to bring me. He's like, how do you know? She told me she didn't want to bring me. And then you have Stannis who's like, well, you're amazing. Well, he doesn't say you're amazing. He says, you're my child. I love you and I will fight for you, versus your mother who, if Melisandre gives the word, will burn you alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he would do, though, if Melisandre gave the word.
I don't think that Melisandre wants to test that. I really don't. But after that scene, I don't think she wants to test that.
No, I don't think she wants to test it either. I'm just saying I don't know how split his loyalties are.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to Winterfell in the north.
Oh.
In the crypts. I'm a little torn on this scene. I thought it was a good scene. I thought the entire exchange was really done well. And we got the story of the tournament with Rhaegar and Lyanna, with, kind of hearkening back to, Robert and Ned in the crypt talking about Lyanna, and, a little tidbit that Nikki found. You want to tell them about the feather, Nikki?
Oh, yes. Back in episode 1, season 1, Robert actually goes down there and he places the feather in the hand of the statue of Lyanna. And that's when he's arguing with Ned, hey, you shouldn't have let her be buried here. And so the writers were saying that was something that when Robert was young and they were both alive, basically he would bring her little knickknacks and little presents. And so that was another thing that he brought her. And basically it's been down there for almost 5 years now, because nobody really goes down into the crypts except to hide from Theon.
That's a really cool callback, though.
Yeah.
I had totally missed that until I saw you put that in the notes, Nikki. That's a really good pull. Where was I going? Oh,
okay, so did anybody else thinking that somebody was eavesdropping? Like, I was expecting Theon to pop out of the shadows after they had left.
I saw you say that on Twitter, but no, until you said that, it hadn't even occurred to me at all. I could see that happening, but on the one hand, but on the other hand, I think Theon as Reek would be too freaked out to do that, unless he was ordered to do so by Ramsay. And Ramsay, at least at this point, as far as we can tell, doesn't suspect that. So why would he? You know?
Yeah, so far Theon is still way too...
He's flighty. He's very flighty right now.
Broken is the word I was looking for, but yeah.
Yeah. Also, I'm so torn between with her and Littlefinger, because on the one hand, Littlefinger is really building up her confidence and telling her, you can do this. And she needs that. She needs a cheerleader saying, you can do this. You are strong enough, and this is exactly what you should do, because she should absolutely start playing the game and get these fuckers out of Winterfell, because I'm sick of seeing the flayed man on top of Winterfell in the opening sequence.
Right?
I want that direwolf back on Winterfell. But, so I think that's great that he's her cheerleader, that he's really building up her confidence and telling her that she can do this, because I think she can. This Sansa can. The Sansa in the books can't. She's still cowering in the eyrie. This Sansa can do this. Absolutely. But then he turns around and he kisses her, and it's just gross.
And it's Littlefinger.
Yes! Ugh.
Yeah.
Why does he have to be her cheerleader?
I know, yeah.
Because he's the evilist. I guess sneaky evilist.
But this is kind of an interesting idea of Stannis coming in, defeating the Boltons, and naming her Wardeness of the North. Huh.
Yeah.
I don't think Stannis can do that. I mean, he's already tried to get Castle Black to back him. He's already tried to get the Wildlings to back him. He doesn't have the manpower. I mean, he had the manpower to take out a bunch of unorganized wild men, but not Ramsay and Roose.
Oh, I think he does. Did you see the size of that army? That was a huge army. And I don't think the Boltons have enough loyalty in their people to put up that kind of a fight.
Oh, yeah. Well, when I was thinking about it, I think Littlefinger is expecting people to turn on the Boltons. But then on the other hand, they're gambling too. Are you going to gamble that the Boltons will lose and Stannis will, put Sansa in? Or what if they lose? What if Stannis loses and then you're all flayed?
Well, here's the there's always that possibility that he's going to lose, but at this point, Stannis has overwhelming numbers. Okay? Not only that, but as we saw, I believe it was last episode, the Boltons haven't established themselves in Winterfell yet. Roose Bolton is telling Ramsay, we cannot win these people over with just fear. That's not going to happen. And they're still in that crossover period. They don't have the people of Winterfell. We also saw that when Sansa was taken to a room and the serving lady told her the North remembers.
Oh, hell yeah, they do.
And Baelish is right. If there's a lot of ifs here. Stannis is coming. We know that. He's told Jon that he's going to go and take Winterfell. He's got the numbers. He gets there, and he's right. You need to put a Stark back in Winterfell, because a Stark will always stay. You always have to have a Stark in Winterfell. He's not stupid. He knows that.
Yeah, Baelish isn't an idiot either.
No.
He knows that Stannis, that's the first thing he's going to think.
Uh-huh.
If she pledges her loyalty to Stannis, Stannis is going to go, oh, I have a Stark.
I don't need Jon.
Yeah, I have a Stark. And Baelish is right. You get the Starks behind you. You get their bannermen.
Yep.
And the North has always been the hardest to tame. The Lannisters certainly do not have the manpower to take the North.
Or the money.
No, or the money. So I think we'd essentially be at a détente.
Yeah.
But let's move on to, what is it? Slaver's Bay? Is that what that was? The Free Cities. We'll call it the Free Cities. With Jorah and Tyrion.
I love this part.
I did too. Tyrion has not lost his talent for being annoying as fuck.
Nope. Did anybody else get like a glimpse of, what was that TV show, House? About just, yes, you're dead on and you're right, and people are giving you the evilest looks, telling you to shut up, and you just keep talking until you get knocked the fuck out.
But did you notice, though, at the very beginning, when Jorah goes and steals that boat, he tossed some coins on the guy's chest to pay for the boat?
Yeah, 'cause that's gonna help him give back his livelihood there.
Well, I mean, you never know. It may have been enough to buy a whole new fucking boat.
Oh, he doesn't have that kind of money.
Those were gold coins.
Yeah. And we now know which queen he's taken him to.
Yep.
And Tyrion is alarmingly astute.
Way too astute. I did love it when he got knocked out, because I got to post a picture of Smokey from Friday going, you got knocked the fuck out.
But let's move on finally to Marine.
Aww.
And Sir Barristan telling bedtime stories about Rhaegar. Rhaegar the singer.
Rhaegar just sounds, aside from the fact that there's these two different stories about what really happened between him and Lyanna, her running off with him versus him kidnapping her.
Right.
I mean, he sounds like he's actually a really cool guy. Like, let's hang out in the streets and sing, and he just sounds like he
was very charismatic. He sounds very charismatic.
He was like Neil Gaiman.
What?
Neil Gaiman's very charismatic.
Okay.
At least in my own head.
Okay. I believe you. I don't know Neil Gaiman, so I don't know. And I have to tell you, my biggest note about when Hizdahr was talking to Dany is that he's a giant pain in the ass.
And he's up to some shit.
And how cynical is it that to stand there and say the former slaves and the masters have nothing in common? That's not true. Yeah, they don't get along for very good reason, but they do have things in common. I just
like their dislike of Dany at the moment.
Yeah, I just find it extremely cynical.
Well, I thought he was up there distracting her.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that.
Because while this was going on, that's when the Harpy attack, and I'm like, I think he's part of it, because now you have an alibi. She's already told you several times, and at one point she said, how many freaking times do I have to say no?
Yeah.
I mean, you know that it's getting on her nerves. Now you're standing in front of her again, pissing her off.
Yeah.
She's gonna remember you while this happens, so now you have an alibi while you've already coordinated this attack. He's a snake.
Okay. And I just have one question about that end scene, the fighting with the Unsullied and the Sons of the Harpy. Aren't the Unsullied supposed to be better fighters than this?
Yes.
I think they were completely outnumbered, though, and surrounded.
Well, and then I also had who was it? Somebody on Twitter mentioned, why would they be carrying their spears in close quarters?
Yeah,
why don't they? We know they have swords. We've seen Grey Worm and what's his name do a contest with a sword, and I'm assuming they also have daggers.
Yeah. Well, why would you be walking the streets when they're that narrow with spears? It doesn't make any sense.
Intimidation.
That doesn't work.
I would find swords just as intimidating.
They don't really fight with swords, though.
Well, but we know that they have them. Because now you're at it, and I think maybe they were hoping nobody would notice that, but they were, I think all except maybe Grey Worm, they were all at a disadvantage. I mean,
yeah,
you can't really swing that spear. I mean, didn't know that you could also slit somebody's throat with it the way he did, but...
yeah, that was kind of cool.
It just seems like you didn't have the room to do what you needed to do without stabbing your fellow Unsullied.
Yeah, they definitely didn't have room to maneuver. And then we end with what appears to be a dead Sir Barristan and a barely alive Grey Worm.
Can somebody please figure out that one hooker is evil and kill her?
Oh my god, that bitch needs slapped.
When she wiped it, she's like, "Hey, the Sons of the Harpy," and then she wiped away her tears. I'm like, I want to strangle her. Like, I want to know what is she like. I want to know what her motivation is. What are you getting out of this? That you're allowing your people basically to be slaughtered, and the people who are supposed to be protecting you to be slaughtered. What are you getting? Are they just going to protect? We're just going to protect you from now on. No, they're going to kill you because now you know who they are.
Yeah.
God, people are stupid.
All right, so do you have any final thoughts?
I am looking forward to the day
that hooker dies.
Number one, when that hooker dies. And number two, when Cersei, when her behavior and her decisions come back to bite her on the ass.
Right?
Oh, I'm gonna have a watch party for that day.
It's coming. It's coming. You know it's coming. It has to be.
Oh yeah.
Especially with the High Sparrow in charge.
Ugh.
And you don't care about Lancel telling on you. Who are they gonna believe? The liar queen or the reformed Sparrow who just carved a 7-pointed star in his forehead?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna end badly. Oh, and by the way, you know nothing, Jon Snow.
Oh my God!
I forgot about that. Oh my
God!
God!
In the face.
Oh my God! I think all the other stuff that I was talking about, it's really kind of minor annoyances for different shit. That's the one thing that I so wanted to be held sacred from the book. The only person who gets to say that is Ygritte. The only person. God damn it.
Yeah, that kind of bugged, and because I think that phrase meant so much to both us as the fans and to Jon.
Ugh.
And then for you to, I don't know, maybe you talked to Ygritte's ghost, you got it off, you read Jon's mind, somebody overheard, somebody told you, maybe you have little Varys type birds running around.
Ugh.
But that kind of pissed me off.
That bitch.
And now she has to die.
Pissed me off greatly.
Oh my God, I was so angry.
Yes. All right. Whew. Deep breaths.
It's too late.
So we do have that article posted from EW Entertainment Weekly regarding Jon, Sansa, and Stannis. We'd love to hear what you think about that. We will be posting our thoughts as well, in addition to what we've already said. At least some of us will. You can reach us at Tyrion's Landing at Gmail. We are also at TyrionsLanding.com. All of the links that we had will be posted up on Wednesday when the show goes up on our Pinterest. And we thank you for listening. And as you know, we are part of the Gonna Geek Network. And this week, Gallifrey Public Radio shares a panel from the recent Who Fest 2 and discuss whether the writer's room really does need a regeneration. Interesting. And we thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
The music used in Tyrion's Landing was created by our friend Keir Hansen. The views expressed are those of the speaker and do not reflect the views of any other person or entity. Game of Thrones is the property of HBO. No infringement is intended. It's time to lip sync for your